I wanted to cover yesterday's White House press briefing live. Unfortunately, because of the schedule with the live viewer town hall yesterday and different things, I just wasn't able to do it. And I regret it because there were just some amazing moments at yesterday's White House press briefing that I want to go through. Many of these are instructive and they tell us a lot about, number one, the motivations of some of the reporters in the White House press briefing room. Number two, they really open us up to very important conversations about law enforcement in today's case, about paternity leave in today's case, and about many different things. So let's start with the first one. The at this point, familiar face in the White House press briefing room, Fox News reporter Peter Doocy. He was speechless as he attempted another one of these gotchas of White House press secretary Jen Psaki. The topic here was about losing police officers to vaccine mandates, when, of course, the reality is the number one cause of death for law enforcement over the last year has been COVID, not getting shot in the line of duty. It's been COVID. We're going to play the lead up to this, and you will see eventually Doocy is just, he's quite literally speechless. He doesn't know what to say. And this is just the continued attempted showboating that he does. He maybe thinks this stuff makes him look good. It really is. I mean, he comes off looking like a Smurf here. Let's take a look. Here we go.
The point of a vaccine mandate is to make people safer. But a vaccine mandate also means tons of police and military may walk off the job. Then at the end of the day, does a vaccine mandate make people safer?
Now, it's really important. Every time they talk about all of these pilots might quit, all of these cops might quit. Remember, we had, for example, we had the Massachusetts State Police story. 200 troopers or whatever might threaten. Okay, one of them actually quit. And so with all of these things, it always has to be how many people are actually quitting and getting fired. We're seeing that it's never more than 1% in any organization we found.
Where are tons of police and military walking off the job?
Right.
Well, the Washington Post says that hundreds of thousands of U.S. service members remain unvaccinated.
Remain unvaccinated is different than they are actually going to be off the job.
Which is leading to questions about possible military readiness. The L.A. County Sheriff says that 5 to 10% of their workforce could walk off the job. And so considering is there any concern about that?
Well, I would say what we point to, or what I would point you to, is evidence with a range of companies, organizations. Frankly, the Department of Defense can also give you the up-to-date statistics on members of the military. I believe it's over 90%, but I would point you them for statistics.
Branches, but there are other problems in the world than COVID-19. International terror, gang violence, murder, arson, drug dealing. Is there any concern about
what was the number one cause of death among police officers last year? Do you know? COVID-19. So that's something that we're working to address, and police departments are working to address. If you look at Seattle as an example, which I know has been in some of the reporting, 92% of the police force is vaccinated.
He's very quiet now, isn't he?
As are 93% of firefighters. 99% of Seattle's 11,000 employees have submitted vaccine verification or an exemption request.
Safety, though, all these other problems, terror, murder, robberies, kidnappings, is there any concern that if police forces shrink, or if the size of the ready military force shrinks, that the United States or localities may not be equipped?
By the way, the military question is funny because the military is not supposed to be used for domestic enforcement of laws. And there are, of course, as we know, situations where governors can call out state national guards. But like Trump's idea of sending the military down to the U.S.-Mexico border to enforce the border law, that's actually against the law. You're not actually supposed. It's so funny that he talks about what about arson and the military ready? What does the military have to do with arson or robbery? Nothing.
Properly to deal with
Peter,
that.
more than 700,000 people have died of COVID. Again,
all right, so you guys get the point. Now, of course, any one of you should be saying, David, is it true? Is it even true that COVID is the leading cause of death for law enforcement? This has been fact-checked many, many times. Here is just one example. The Officer Down memorial page details the causes of death in the line of duty among law enforcement officers in 2020. 245 officers died due to contracting COVID in the line of duty. That was the majority of the 374 deaths in the line of duty. COVID was by far the most common recorded cause of death, gunfire second. Beginning in early 2020, due to requirements of their jobs, thousands of law enforcement officers and first responders contracted COVID. Hundreds of law enforcement officers died from medical complications as a result of contracting the virus while remaining on duty and interacting with the community. A message at the top of the site reads, COVID is the #1 killer of law enforcement officers in 2020 and 2021. In 2021, 237 COVID deaths were recorded. That also makes it a majority, 369 total deaths in the line of duty, 237 for law enforcement officers. So it is indeed true. It is indeed true. And you can just see, kind of the confusion on Peter Doocy's face. There's always some degree of confusion with all of these things. And in this case, what we have to remember is COVID leading cause of death for law enforcement. Number 2, threats to quit or people who are as of yet unvaccinated is very different than X% of the workforce is now gone. United Airlines was a big one where they announced a vaccine requirement for employees. And then it was, oh my goodness, look at all these people that are still unvaccinated. And as the deadline approached and approached and approached, so I think it was like 1/3 of 1% of United employees actually remained unvaccinated at the time of the deadline. 1/3 of 1%, maybe half of 1% or something like that. So always keep that in mind, but just speechless. Let's be honest, most health food snacks are not very exciting. They don't taste great. They don't fill you up. One of our sponsors is Monk Pack, who makes amazing keto granola bars that are sweet, soft, chewy, and filling with a slight crunch. Each has only 1 gram of sugar, 2 to 3 net carbs, and just 140 calories. Perfect for anybody doing low carb or keto. Or if you just want a tasty, sweet snack without the sugar. Everybody should be mindful of sugar intake, but you don't have to do so at the expense of flavor because Monk Pack Keto Granola Bars come in delicious flavors like coconut cocoa chip, peanut butter, blueberry, almond, vanilla. There are other flavors too, I can tell you firsthand. They're all great. I always keep these in my pantry. It's a perfect snack during a busy day. Go to monkpack.com, link underneath this video, and you'll save 20% when you use the promo code PACMAN at checkout.